my kitchen, benvenuti alla mia cucina. I'm in a mission today. Today is bread day. I am making some orders for sourdough bread for some customers, and I thought I would show you the flavors that I'm doing it today and kind of get you a little bit more understanding of sourdough bread. So in here I have 2,500 grams. This sourdough, it's better in grams because it's got to be precise. So, you know, sometimes cups change, and the way everybody fills up the cup, it changes. So it's got to be in grams. I have 2,500 grams of flour, all-purpose flour here. You can use bread flour or you can use all-purpose. I have half and half. I put half with all-purpose and half with bread flour. It's an experiment. I want to see if it makes a difference. I'm also having here, I put it in here, 50 grams of salt. And I have my starter that I did it last night. Usually it doesn't take this long to double in size, but it's been so cold this week and it's only doubled all night long. Usually it comes up to the top, but we're gonna see how this goes because it's been so cold. For this amount, for 2,500 grams of flour, I need 500 grams of starter. And you know, well, I better turn my scale on. With my bowl, zero out. Okay, so I need 500 grams of starter. And I mean, the starter is all bubbly, but it just usually, it comes to the top, and not this time. So anyway, so 400, almost there. I just made some a couple days ago and it was so good. Come on. Okay. 500 grams. And then I need 1750 of warm water, tap water. So I'm gonna zero out again. And now we're gonna add 1750 of water. 1750 of water. So I need 50 more grams. I'm gonna zero out. There's 17 there, and I need 50 more. That's it. Just enough to rinse this bowl. This particular orders that I have some plain. I have some with jalapeno, cheddar, and bacon. I have some with blueberry, lemon. So now I'm gonna mix all this until all that starter is all combined. And I'm gonna make it my bread. This is specific for bread. I'm gonna put my flour. I'm gonna pour all this into here. Turns like milk. And if there's little pieces in the bottom, don't worry about it. It'll be mixed. And this is warm water because it's very cold. And I mix this in these tubs, and then I cover and I put behind the counter, and the rice behind here. So we'll see. This might take the rest of the day to rice. And this is gonna be like a shaggy dough. This is like a whole different process to learn how to do sourdough bread. I've been making bread for years, but this is very different. People sometimes make it harder than what it is, like everything else, I think. And you gotta find your own way of doing things. Make sure that all that flour is incorporated and mix. And I like these tubs because if by any chance this is taking too long to rise, I might put it in a refrigerator, which normal bread, you do not put it in a refrigerator. You don't want this bread to overproof. If it overproofs, it'll become a flat bread. It goes flat. I'm gonna get my hands wet and give a little bit, mix this better. I think that people, when you see people making bread, they say just mix and let it go. This one, you don't. You have to do flips and all kinds of stuff, and coil folds and all that. So anyway, and then I'm gonna leave this here for 1 hour before I do the first flip. And I've tried different methods because, you know, I'm very impatient. 1 hour seems like it takes forever. So now I'm gonna put a lid and I'm just gonna leave it right here for 1 hour. And since I have my starter ready, I'm gonna feed my starter because I took some out. Okay, I'm gonna put half cup of flour. This is 1/4 cup. This is bread flour, and I use bread flour because it has more protein. It kind of becomes more gluten, has more gluten, so it makes a better bread. And I'm gonna mix this and then put it back in my counter because I'm gonna need, in a couple days, I'm gonna need some more. I'm gonna make some focaccia bread. So, and that's it. Just make sure that flour is really incorporated, and you want kind of a thicker pancake mixture, and that's your starter. And this is gonna stay in my counter, so if I'm gonna use it pretty much every other day or at least once a week, I keep feeding. But if I'm gonna go somewhere and I'm not gonna use it, I put this whole thing in a refrigerator, and then the morning of, I'll take it out and then I'll feed it. I added more flour, a little bit of water, and once it doubles in size and you see bubbles all the way around, you know it's ready. So anyway, okay friends, it's been an hour. So now I need to do some flips and folds. We just do this and stretch the dough. I'm gonna do this one time, and then I'm gonna do some coil folds. I like better than this. You can see that gluten is developing. It starts stretching and the dough starts getting smooth. I put it in my oven on proof to see if it'll proof faster. the oven is at 100 degrees. So I'm gonna put it back again for another 30 minutes, then I'll come back. Now I'm doing my second stretch and fold. I'm gonna do coil stretches, and it's just hold the dough up and then put it down. I'm gonna do this a couple times on all the sides. And we're just trying to stretch that gluten. You already see some bubbles. So I said this is very different than the normal bread. I love it. I love doing this. I'm gonna do one more time this side. And then this side. And when you see the dough is getting hard to stretch, then let it go. And it's gonna wait 30 more minutes. This is my last stretch and folds that I'm gonna do. Or coil folds, that's what I'm doing. Anyway, so now I'm gonna leave this in my oven the rest of the day, or at least about 7-8 hours, or until it doubles, almost fills up to this container. So that's what I'm gonna do. The rest, let it do its thing, and then I will show you when it's ready to shape. Okay friends, it's been all day with my bread. So now I'm gonna sanitize my counters. I sanitize my counters before I do anything. This is all natural. I use 7 generations disinfectant, multi-surface cleaner. I like this to disinfect my counters before I do anything. And let me show you my bread. Look at this. Look all those bubbles. Look how jiggle. It has doubled in size and has made all bubbles. Let's see, wet. We don't want no wet. And I'm just gonna let it come out. Try to help separate the sides. It's been on bulk rising since 10 o'clock this morning, and it is 5 o'clock. It has taken me, this bread took 7 hours to bulk proof, and I kept it in my oven for half of the time. Let me flour my scraper. So now I'm gonna measure 900 grams of dough. That's one. Anyway, That's the problem with sourdough. It takes a long time. And but the results are good. I love, and it's so much healthier for somebody who is diabetic. I'm going to put some flour on the bottom. I'm not going to stretch too much. I'm just going to bring it in. Kind of just stretch it a little bit. And then put it aside. Okay, friends, it's time to start shaping my bread. This is going to be just the plain one. And I put it in these, and then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. So now I'm going to stretch these. And then we're going to put the inclusions in the middle. I'm going to start with cheddar cheese and jalapeno. And bacon. This is bacon bits. I buy the bacon bits at Costco. I'll put it all over. Then I'm going to fold it. Put it all over you stretch it like a pizza. Then you put it, I'm going to fold it. And then I'm going to fold it again. And then I'm going to put the rest in here. And then some more bacon. And then we're going to fold it and try to seal it the sides. And then I'm going to try to shape it and make sure that all stays in there. And I'm going to be very gentle. And I'm going to put it in here. And let it be. Okay, let's do this one. Spread it out. And I'm going to make onion jam that I made today. This is onion jam. Spread it out. And then cheddar cheese. I've never tried this one, so kind of anxious to see how it tastes. Okay, we seal these. Then I'm gonna add more in here. This is just onion and some sugar, and then some vinegar. Okay, let's fold this one in here and seal it. And then I'm going to put the rest of this in here. And then the rest of the cheese. There's some cheese in here too. These are delicious. Once you make it, you get addicted to them. I should have done this differently. Oh. With this, especially with sugar, you have to be very careful. If they burst, let's stitch it. And because this one has sugar, I'm gonna put it in this towel in the bowl, because if I put it in my Benettons, it's gonna stay. Okay, and I'm gonna do this one with linguica or chorizo. No, this is linguica, and I pre-cooked this. I put it in my air fryer. Just chorizo. Flip it. And we're gonna put some more in here. Then roll it. Till it gets really tight and really rolled in. Okay. Okay, friend, I'm in my last one. And I'm going to do this one with sugar and lemon and blueberries. Spread all this, and you don't want to go all the way to the edge. And I have some fresh blueberries. I've done with frozen. It was a mess because there was so much liquid, and it leaked everywhere. I'm gonna need another towel. No, put some blueberries in here. And let's seal all this good. And then I don't put sugar on the top, on this top. Roll. These towels I have special for this. And I use the towels when I use sugar or something that is gonna leak. So now this is going to go to the refrigerator until tomorrow. And then tomorrow I bake it. Good morning, friends. It's morning here and I'm gonna finish my sourdough bread. I turned my oven about 35 minutes ago at 500, and I have my pots inside, my cast iron pots that I'm gonna bake the bread inside the oven. And in here I have parchment paper that I crinkled that up and got it all wet. So they're all wet. And I took my bread just out of the fridge. I'm gonna put a little bit of flour on the bottom. And then I'm gonna dump into this parchment paper, and I'm gonna get my hand wet to get this top wet. And the reason you want to get wet, the top wet, so is this is rice flour, real fine rice flour, and you sprinkle the flour on top, and the flour coats into that water. It coats the bread. So if you're gonna do any design on the bread, it can be more visible. And that's what I'm gonna do right now. So this is a lame. It's a tool just to cut bread to make designs. And I'm just gonna do a design on top of the bread. And when you bake it, it'll show that design. And you don't need it too deep. This is just lightly. And it makes a beautiful design on the bread. I love doing this. So this is my bread ready to go to the oven. Right before I put it, I'm gonna do a big cut so it'll create an ear on the bread. So that one is ready. Now I'm gonna do the other one. Put a little bit of flour, and this is the jalapeno. Get the top wet. Then put some flour. And then we kind of clean it up because we don't want the clumps of flour. We just want it enough to coat so it'll make the designs. And this one, I'm just gonna make little designs. You can't make too much designs in this because you don't want all that filling to gush it out. And you do whatever you want. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to. But it looks pretty. It looks more professional. Oh, super hot. I'm gonna put this one in here. And because that paper, the parchment paper is wet, it's gonna create a steam and it's gonna make a nice crust. Oh, I forgot to make the ear. So before I put it in, I'm gonna do a big cut across. And this one you go deep. And it's gonna create what they call an ear. And then I'm gonna put it in my pot, put the lid on, and back in the oven. You have to be very quick with this. And I'm just gonna score a big cut across. to make that ear. And go in here. And because that paper is wet, I wetted the paper. It's going to create a steam, and it's going to make a nice crust on the bread. This is smoky. I'm just going to cut it in the middle. And it's gonna go to the oven. I'm gonna lower the temperature to 450 and it's gonna cook for 30 minutes. Then I take the lid off and I let it cook for 20 minutes without the lid. Okay friends, my bread is done. Ah! Here is my bread. That's the plain. This is the chorizo. I'm gonna put these back in the oven, crank it to 500 to finish the rest. Oh. Oh, I wish you could smell this. This is the jalapeno, bacon, and cheddar. They smell amazing. Okay friends, here it is, my sourdough bread that I made today. One of my customers just picked up the plain one she needed for lunch, so she just picked it up. This is the onion and cheddar. Smells so good. This is the jalapeno, cheddar cheese, and bacon. It's so good. This is the cheddar cheese and linguica. So good. And look at this. Crunchy, it's light. And some of these I just took out of the oven. This is the blueberry and lemon. This one, no matter how you use the blueberries, it always gets to run out. So this is my sourdough bread I made today for my customers. These are customers that haven't showed up yet. So anyway, you give it a try to the recipe of sourdough and try to do different flavors, different things with it. You will be amazed how delicious it is. I made a cinnamon sugar last week. I ate the whole thing for the whole week. It was so good. In the morning, put it in the toaster with some butter and a cup of coffee. It was just right. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Give me some thumbs up. Share my videos on your social media and with your friends. And until next time, have a good day.